Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be using up a ham and a ham bone that I've got sitting in my fridge. I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be good, so I want to make sure I don't waste that. And I'm going to be making beans and cornbread. I started out by soaking my beans. This is best done overnight, but our AC was out yesterday and I completely forgot by the time it was time for me to start soaking the beans last night. So I started them about 7:30 this morning. It's now about 4:30 in the afternoon, so they've been soaking for a little over 8 hours, and as long as you can soak them for 8 hours, you're good. There is a quick boil method that supposedly works well, but beans are the magical fruit, and soaking your beans kind of helps alleviate that problem. So I've got my beans soaked and I'm about to start chopping my veggies to get the base of my broth ready. I'm sure there are some recipes that I make that don't call for onion, but this is not one of them. In fact, most of the things that I make do use onion. I really love onion. It's got a nice background flavor and some texture. So today we're going to be starting out by dicing up an onion. One of the great things about this recipe is that it's a great way to use up leftovers in your fridge or in your pantry. So if you don't have an onion or you're not crazy about onion, you can also substitute shallots or whatever you've got in your fridge just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. This is not the only thing that I'm going to be adding, but again, if you've got bell peppers or different types of vegetables, especially aromatics, any of those would work in this recipe. Speaking of aromatics, I've finished up dicing the onion, so now I'm going to be mincing a clove of fresh garlic, and I bought garlic for this, and oh my gosh, the cloves were so huge. I ended up just using one, which is pretty out of the ordinary for me, but I figured this would probably be enough. Once our veggies are ready, we're gonna go ahead and melt some butter in the bottom of a stock pot that's already been heated. And around this time I realized, you know what, I've got some celery in the fridge, so I'm gonna go ahead and chop that up while the onion cooks down a little bit. I'm really glad I remembered the celery. I can't remember what I bought it for, but it's been sitting in my fridge for a couple of weeks now, and it was still crispy, so I got it in time. Celery just adds a really nice flavor and some crunch. I like to use fresh celery more than just celery salt, especially when I'm making some type of broth, which is what I'm doing here, and I was just really glad to still have this in my fridge. By the time I was done chopping the celery, the onions had reduced down quite a bit and they were nice and translucent, so I went ahead and added the celery and the garlic, and I'll just cook this for a couple of minutes before adding some chicken stock. In this case, for the amount of beans I was cooking, I went ahead and used a whole 4-cup portion of my frozen chicken stock. If you don't have chicken stock, you can absolutely use water, but I was really trying hard to get through my chicken stock because I have the ingredients to make more, and so I need to clean my freezer out. Now's a good time to go ahead and get that ham added. I cut the bone out of the big ham and also cut off a few chunks of ham that I would want to cook down, and when this was done it was fall apart tender. I also had to add some water just to make sure the ham was covered, and this is when you're going to want to add your seasonings. I kept it really simple this time and just added a few bay leaves, some salt and pepper, but whatever you feel like adding to this, I'm sure it would be great. I think last time I made this I added paprika and maybe a little bit of cumin, but really just however you feel like flavoring your beans is how you should add seasoning to this. You'll want to cover this and simmer it for several hours. I think I boiled mine for about 2 hours, and this is the final result. Isn't that beautiful? I have a separate video on my channel for the cornbread, so I'll leave a link for that in the description, and I really hope you liked this video. If you did, leave me a like and make sure to let me know in the comments. If you're new around here, please feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you around next time. Bye guys!